We are rolling up at Brinks Way Electroplaters in Manchester, the best for electroplating. Just wait till you see what we're about to pick up. Email pictures look really good. Just wait till we actually, just going to reverse up to the gates now. Brinks Way for our electroplating. A reversed image of the logo, but that is Brinks Way, and we're leaving Brinks Way. We're loaded, and boy does the stuff look nice. There's bright zinc and a zinc gold passivate. We're going to get back to the workshop now and unload. Let's have a look at how the nuts and bolts have come out. Gonna hit the motorway now. Motorway M56, peak traffic time coming up. We're gonna get a shake on. Can't wait to look at these galvanised parts. I just love all the nuts and bolts when they're all nice and shiny and you can put them in the boxes. I'm just taking it easy, trying not to rush to get back home to look at the galv. Can you wait till we let it all unfold on the floor? Please, it's going to be great. Looking there, making sure we're just paying attention to the roads, but galvanising, guys. Can you wait? Wow. Woohoo! Very exciting. Uh-oh, traffic. Okay, straight back the next morning from the, well, it's actually afternoon now, straight back from Galv, and I've already began to sort through the nuts and bolts, which are absolutely superb. Brinks Way then, Manchester. They're such good guys at such good prices, and I've not been told to promote them. When I like someone, I like them. They're a little bit late, but it was worth the wait. And that's not supposed to rhyme. Look at the quality then, as the camera uses its autofocus to lock on. Beautiful. Now then, you can't do this restoration without, oh, I just want to, please, yeah, ooh, yeah. They're nice. Even this Ford fuel sender ready to reassemble. All sorts of goodies. Remember these heavily pitted items. Remember, cast your minds back, ladies and gentlemen, to the parts tumbler. Not far behind, a few videos behind, the parts tumbler has paid off. So the Frost parts tumbler helped to pre-prep all these. And just look at the finish that you get. These have gone through twice through the machine because the guy said, I'm just going to run them through for you again and get an even better shine. So nuts and bolts all over the place, laid out on the floor, and then into our first storage box we go. Takes a little while, you've got to have patience, I suppose, just to lay everything out. And really this is just a one pass. You could go through this again and really start extra honing in, I suppose, but there's no need. Little brackets. These are the cigarette tray, where you stub your cigarette out there. See that little grill? That fits inside the ashtrays for the rear doors. We've even had those done. I'm hoping there's two of them. There should be one more. Better had be. I did see it. Yeah, there it is. Somehow got into there. So we've got the pair. Sound off like you got a pair. Okay, door locks, everything that anybody could want. These are new, these are just a bonus thing. They did say they could do with another shot blast. I'm happy with that. No problem, that's fine. Okay, so all the stuff, another tub as well here with some brake parts in, some of the hose clips. In fact, that's naughty, that goes over here into the hose clip connecting tub. Assortment tub, whatever the word is. And then also the same day, a bonus. Remember we took apart in episode 31 those left for dead master cylinders. Look at this lovely girling piece now that's come back from Past Parts. Okay, Past Parts, I think .co.uk. Let's double check that because the invoice is just in my hand, and they are hold on, I'll open the invoice. Past Parts, yeah, pastparts.co.uk. There they are. All right. So they did 2 of these, and you saw me in the earlier clip getting them ready to send off. Let's have a look at the second one. The first one I'm really happy with. In my hand goes, all nicely greased, these with all the seal kits done. And there we have it. Look at that lovely number there, that girling, all important girling 64 code, signifying the correct type of master cylinder for the Mk3 Cortina. And look at the finish on that. Now bear in mind I already had these blasted, but they could have done that anyway. I had them blasted, and then these went to another brake manufacturer, Refurbished, who sent them back saying they're seized up. And if you remember, I then slowly worked these. We slowly worked them. They were seized solid, and I agree with them, but it didn't mean they were left for dead. Past Parts told me that they would use hydraulic oil in the end of here and force the pistons out if they're very seized, but I managed to do it. Hopefully I saved some money by doing that, reducing their labour time and making things easier for them. Beautiful that, look at that. I mean, you know, that's just probably the best one I've ever done. So we've got 2 of those. I want to put that on bubble wrap. I don't even want to put it on the floor. Please, just look after that. So, the galv arrives, and let's go over here, the bright zinc finish. There's the automatic gearbox selector rod. Here's a lovely relay casing, so attention to detail then. Look at that relay casing in bright silver. That goes in the engine bay. High visibility item, so needs to look right. Another high vis item when you're underneath the car, the oil pan. On my gearbox at the moment, it's just done in oh my god silver, which is fine. I'm not knocking the gearbox guys at all, because they turned that round real quick at a good price and they looked after me. However, if I want to start doing this, it's going to knock the price of the gearbox up, so I just add them parts to that box. Some of the little bits on the box will get some detailing. Hold on, a rare use of the zoom now, everybody. Don't use it a lot, nothing wrong with it, just don't use it much. Some of those items there, which would normally be a different colour, because they're all covered in paint, some of the paint I'll just take off, and I'll just detail the best that I can that gearbox. Alright, and just add a few little extra features to it in terms of detailing work, just to lift it a little bit. For example, I'll put the galv nuts and bolts on through here and stuff, and I'll just lift that and give it a bit more definition. Okay, I don't think I've covered the engine, which is now on the stand. We looked at it earlier on the floor, but we're now on the rotating engine stand, and again look at the lovely work that's gone on with the engine. Really done a good job from Gem then in Scotland. And the way that they've addressed the block and painted it is nice. You'll see that I'm just trialing out a T adapter for the oil pressure switch, because Cortinas don't have an oil pressure switch, the GXL. They replace it with a pipe which directly connects to the oil outlet on the block and goes to your gauge. But the problem with that is you don't always look at your oil gauge, and if something went wrong, for example your oil filter came unscrewed, or I've seen this, and I think I might have mentioned this as well, previous clip, I've seen them pinhole an oil filter that was new old stock. You're trying to be original and fit a Motorcraft one on, little do you know that the Motorcraft one's got a pinhole in it from storage, rusted internally, and then the oil comes out, and eventually after a long run you suddenly have dumped your oil and no oil light. So you wouldn't always be looking at your oil pressure gauge. So this system, this T adapter from Burton's, enables you to put a oil switch and connect the pipe to the gauge. Now it looks a bit non-factory when it's in the engine bay, and on my other cars I have actually got an adapter, but it's fitted behind the clocks, but it's a bit tricky doing it that way. and I was never happy with that idea, so I'm going to do this. Also, these switches are rated for higher pressure. This from Gem, they always fit a slightly higher oil pressure pump. Not 100% sure the reason behind having a higher oil pressure pump in it. From my point of view, I can't see the advantage of that. In fact, you could argue it's not as good. I don't know, but I mean, the fact that I've got it anyway, it means I need an oil pressure switch that can take the extra pressure. Not that it's over the stated pressure of the engine, it's just that some of these cheap oil switches break down, the diaphragms go. I've had one fail on Ruby. It actually failed and started giving us false low oil pressure warnings. That was on the Northumberland road trip video, and I did see it starting to weep out of there, would you believe. Anyway, that's high pressure version from eBay. Got two of those, one to go back onto Ruby. So the engine's really nice. The cylinder head is over on my engine assembly bench. Walking across, careful not to, because we just quickly get, not disorganised, but quickly fill up space. There's the head. We've not yet inspected the other side of it. We'll look forward to that on the assembly. Okay, so over to the dashboard, starting to gather various clocks and pieces to begin assembling it. Oh, there's the other piece of bright work, which is coming from the galves, and that's the cigarette carrying tray. We may as well have done it. There's the actual tray itself, so that's all going to look nice together. May as well do it. Front face off it. Already began to put some of the galvanised parts onto the dash assembly. Now here, these retaining screw brackets for the cowling surround, looking nice there and featured in. So that's where I'm up to, just a little bit of setting out, and then I've got to decide what job I'm going to do next, because all this stuff's come back, I can now pick a job. I can carry on with electronics over there, electronics department. I can start building the clip if I want, because I've got everything now for that. I could do the engine if I wanted. I can pick anything that I want to do, all these subsections. Over on the electronics bench, the MP3 is actually rigged up to the set at the moment. Okay, and that's actually on. We can actually get, if we press mode,
the Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
The Bluetooth, that's a Chinese, it's English.
FM tender, line in, music.
So that's all connected up. Yeah, we can do that. We can do more electronics. I don't know, sometimes when this happens, it actually sort of knocks you back a little bit. There's the chrome. I don't know if we talked through the chrome. Have I already filmed the chrome? Apologies if I have already filmed the chrome, but the chrome is in. I think I have already filmed that for you. It gets to the point where you think, oh, where am I going to start? There's so many exciting things that we can do. The RSJ is on a dolly, look, because that's set up to do the brake flaring kit. And I also set it up to fold some aluminium steel for some panels that I was making. I'll show you them when they're done. The hydro dipping wood is ready to go away as well, and we can also drop off our car frame seats. They're ready, the upholsterer's ready to begin actually finishing the seats off, so that's another trip we can do. Lots to think of, lots to do. We better keep going. You better leave me to really put everything away for now and just carry on getting all these galvanised parts into little boxes, and then I'll sit down and have a think what I'm going to do next. Okay, with all the nuts and bolts stored in these little tubs, roughly sorted out, and then some bolts that I'm going to be needing sort of immediately, and a little handy tray there, and the parts that I'm going to be needing for this job, which is I'm going to start building the suspension clip. So it's on the dolly, as we've shown before, nice little wheel around truck, and then any bits associated with that just in the little box below. Begin now with the lower wishbone arm, starting to fit these Superflex bushes, or the floflex bushes, and finding all the bolts for each fitting. This is actually the wrong bolt. I've just spotted the right bolts are just there. So start to get everything together. We'll start building that side of the clip. I'll take a little seat, I'll make a little spinny seat there, and just park myself here and start just assembling up this section of the clip. Once we've done this side, we can just mirror everything that we've done on this side across, because it is symmetrical on that side, more or less. So we'll need lower and upper ball joints, we'll need the top wishbone bushes, the spring, the Spax suspension damper. What are they called? Dampers? Shock absorbers. Woo! Shock absorber in. A couple of little bits and bobs. We need a few little nuts and bolts to hold these in place. These tie bar bushes, they bolt through. The earlier types didn't have any fixings for those. We have to find our own ones. That's not a big deal. Then we have to make sure we adjust up the camber bolt. Is it the camber bolt? Or is it the toe-in bolt? This sort of has an effect of just slightly tensioning up that lower wishbone. There's only so far it can go. It doesn't really have much movement. It's more of a twist and then a torsion under tension, if you will, holding that lower arm in place, which affects a little bit of the alignment geometry of the wheels. What I normally do with these is count the thread and copy across from other cars to get me in the ballpark. So I think it's 13 little threads up. I'll count that and double check. I've got a clip untouched from the factory outside with everything as Ford did. As far as I know, it hasn't been messed with. It looks like it's got all the original fixings on it. So if we forget which bolt goes where, which is easily done, we just go outside to the Portuguese clip that's in the yard and just familiarise ourselves with it. Or we can use the computer over here and just go onto Fordopedia, and that will give us some exploded diagrams. Or we can use the books. We've got plenty of reference material to do it. We'll be using the spring compressor tool. I'll show you that to get the spring shock absorber fitted. So exciting stuff. We can build one side for now. At least it gets some parts on and out of the way and start streamlining everything. I'll take a seat now and I'll just start mocking up exactly what I'm going to do with this clip. Okay, I've got the diagram up. This is in a very handy book called 71 Cortina Parts List. So there we have the page for the front suspension clip, and first bolt's going in. It's this bolt here identified on there, and indeed going outside on the clip, the Portuguese clip, it is the same bolt. Little bit of general purpose grease, and then the two floflex bushes are in place. We've pushed the arm into the lower section of the clip. Needed a little bit of filing. This has been powder coated, so I just have to file the inside faces there with the croc sander. The croc sander's just on the bench in the corner over there, so I'm going to place this through, but we want to look which way the bolts go. Looking, if this is the front, they're coming in from that side, so I'm knocking in curiously from this side, which is harder to get to than that side. There'll be a reason for it. I don't know what that is. It's probably when it's in the car you probably couldn't get to it. So that will now tap in. Various ways we can do it, just with a little hammer. If we need to, we've got a sort of sacrificial screwdriver for knocking bolts out if we had to. I could do it just chopping the end off this. We use that as a knocking screwdriver. If we have to take these out, if anything goes wrong, it shouldn't go wrong. So I'm just winding that grease on to there, and that's ready to go in, that's ready to tap in. And we'll get the nut on the other side. Just nip it up for now, not too tight, and then we'll move along. So that should go in. Probably can do it while you're on. Don't see why not. Doesn't have a washer. Alright, so there we go. Just about the right amount of thread. Find the nut for the end of that now. I'll keep on moving. We're going to build this up. Okay, here's our lower ball joint, ready to go. We'll get that on next. That's just going to go onto here. Comes with its own bolts. We may as well use the new bolts that come with it, unless we can find the, get the galvanised ones, or we can use these. It's not too important that, whether you want to pick the original Ford bolts, depends how rusty they were. I'll have a quick little look, see what I've got in stock. Obviously the ones that we took off were riveted on, so they won't actually be the kit for it. I'm going to use these, they come with it, I'm going to use these. Good idea to use these. Lower ball joint then, because we need to get the upper and lowers on, because that's what holds the spring in place. If we want to get the shock and the spring in, get that job out of the way, we'll get this on. Okay, here we go. Gloves on, I think now, with a bit more grease going on. Now I'm going to put some general purpose grease just on the face of this lower ball joint, just to stop it rusting, because I don't think these are coated, so you don't want rust sort of gathering between the sandwich face, because that could be a moisture trap. So we'll grease that up there. So it's going to help keep the wolf from the door. So now we can offer that up, swipe that grease back, take this up, I'll go on with you, I'll go together, we'll do it together. Two bolts in at the top there, got facing down, they're going to go through here. This goes from the bottom, simply because it's pulling up on the arm. You wouldn't have it on the top, but the risk it could tear that way out. So they fit underneath, I'm sure. I'm going to go and double check, but I'm sure they go underneath like this. I'll bring the camera in so you can see a bit better. Hopefully this is recording all right and it's nice and clear on your screens. So I'll just get, there's washers and nuts to go to the bottom. Let's get them in, just in position now. Lock that in place. Stand back a little bit for you. We'll get yourself on, we'll get, here I am, backwards. We'll get ourselves on the tripod soon, especially when we're doing that coil wind up there. Alright, washers and nuts, hold this in place please. A change of plan on the bolts. These ones supplied with the lower ball joint kit don't reach, they're not quite long enough. So I've gone to the original bolts. Can't do it there because these were riveted on when we took the axle apart, but these, I put the Ford ones on, which I feel better about. So washer and bolt on to hold that on, and they reach better. These don't quite make it for some reason, and I'm going to investigate why in case I've made a mistake. But that's just not enough length in that to get through the tie bar and the actual ball joint. Now there must be a reason for it. I need to find out in case something's in wrong, so I'm going to make further investigations. For now I'm going to continue on, but I've got to keep my eye on that situation as to why they didn't be supplied long enough. Okay, I know there's some powder coating on there which would increase the thickness, but it's nowhere near. I can't think of any other way around it. Okay, leave that with me, I'll give it some thought. As I'm going along as well, I'm finding the bolts kits for the opposite side as well, so we save time and we don't have to keep checking what we did, so everything's symmetrical. Okay, so we've gone that tie bar, we've dug that tie bar out, so as we're building this side we'll clone everything on the floor and we get symmetry. Okay, so now we're going to go for the top wishbone. I've already dug out the bolts for that, tap them back out of there and find the wishbone and get the floflex bushes slotted into the wishbone. There's the wishbone waiting for us. There's a backing disc. See how we've made these packs up, so we've got everything ready. Okay, wishbone then, put a towel down now just so I don't scratch it, pop in those bushes and then place it in up on the top, and then you've got your upper and lower, and we can get the ball joint on this one does fit this side, whereas this one fits on the underside, I'm almost sure. I will, don't worry, I will check I've got that right if it has to. It's not a big job just to pull that out, but I don't think it sits on top. Okay, here's our floflex bushes, quite probably the softest of the polyurethane bushes out there. I like these, I've not had a big problem, they go in nice. Just a little bit of WD. I don't think WD attacks the rubber, I hope it doesn't. So just going to knock them in, they just slide straight in quite easily. You'll notice the powder coaters didn't do the inside faces, of course, otherwise we'd have had to have sanded that out. Okay, let's let the camera lock on again. It's doing pretty good. So I'll put them floflexes in, and then we'll offer it up to the top of the cradle there, and then we'll knock that bolt through. And then that's the upper and lower. You could argue fit the ball joint now. Should we fit the ball joint now just for ease? Alright, here it is in the box. These from the Motor Factors, so they're still out there on the shelf, no problem. We'll grease the face of that again because it's just bare metal, so at least it's sat on some grease there. And then grease is the word that you heard. It's got groove, it's got meaning. Let's fit that now. Yeah, this is exciting, isn't it? Building it up, building it up. Project Bramble. Yeah. I forgot to mention, when you do these, at least some of these bushes, take the liner out and then insert the bush, because it allows it to slightly collapse in on itself. Then tap the liner, the steel sleeve back in, that up, rather than trying to get it in like I just did without taking the liner out. Okay, and now we tap gently on that, and the same for that side. Knock the liner out, touch a WD if you want, or whatever you feel happy with as a lube. KY, you can use KY, you can use WD, washing up liquid. Yeah, KY jelly. Tingly stuff works slightly better. Floflex is in, lower ball joint, contact face greased up, drop onto there. Now the nut and bolt kit, which comes in the Fastline box. Yeah. Again, no Cortina ones available because, as I said, they rivet these on, and Brambles were originally riveted, so it never had new ones fitted. So the rivets were drilled. If you look back on the videos, old ball joint thrown away, and then leaving the holes in the upper wishbone for these to go through these new fixing kits. So new fixing kits in. I shall put the bolt in from the top, and if the nut ever does fall off, you don't lose the nut and the bolt, you only lose the nut because the bolt's rattling from the top side. Okay, fit these into there, then lift it up and offer it up into there, and we'll get a little bit further tonight before we break for an evening of just YouTube and a little bit of dinner, and taking it easy this evening. Friday, taking it easy, going to finish at about 7 PM. Love my little wheelie chair, as you saw. And that just helps me, and I've been wheeling myself around. Look how everything is laid out for us. I'm a backup manual. The Haynes backup it doesn't tell us much more than the Ford one. In fact, it shouldn't, should it? The Ford should tell us a lot more than this. Curiously using the same exploded diagram from the Ford book, showing the riveted setup, not showing the nuts and bolts, I think. MP3 on there. I've had the MP3 running as background music. That's good, but we're not finished with that. We've got a project box. But I won't distract you with electronics while we're doing this. If the volume dips in and out, the DC2, the WA2 camera microphone is not as boosted as my WA3 camera I was using. Sorry, DC3 camera I was using. Notice that in the sound edit that you'll get varying levels of volume from time to time. So I don't know why that is. Just other than that, the camera's great. It could be the flash card, although it is a 4 series Speed 4 flash card in it. So I don't know. I thought it might have been that, and it couldn't write to it quick enough. We'll see. For now, bolts onto the wishbone. Let's get moving. Okay, 13 for that. Snip them up. I'm going to make sure I go round when it's all complete and make sure everything's torqued up properly. I'm just nipping things up for now. Whoops. Okay, that's that. This hole here was for the grease nipple on the original Ford setup, where you could put the they were set for life ball joints, but a lot of people didn't follow the maintenance routine and inject the grease into the nipple there. Subsequently, they would fail. Okay. So yeah, that was a new idea, sealed for life. Okay, that's ready to offer up to the top, so you come off the tripod now and we go up and fit this. Okay, we're in. You're with me. Tripod it up. That bolt just there. I don't think there's a washer on that. Checking for washer. There may be. There is a washer. There is a washer on the top here on both sides, so this will have to come out. I hope I can get that out. Only lightly tapped it in. Yeah, okay. Washer needed. Look at the diagram. So actually could have left that on. It would have fallen off. Washer in for this big bolt through the top. Brake for that. Hold on. Okay. Sort of reasonably thick washers. They're not the mega thick washer, but I think they are right because it lines up with the castle nut. If it doesn't line up with the castle nut, then they're the wrong washers. They're too thick. They seem to be the right ones. That's the only thing. It's hard to actually start measuring every single thing that you're going to do on this. Just looking at that, how it's gone on there now. Just take that grease off and see. I could have. It looks the right type of washer to me. Any thinner, especially with a reasonably sized bolt there, I would have thought it'd be too thin a washer. I don't seem to have any in the kits that fit that diameter of bolt. So anyway, I'll nip them up. I think they're 17mm. I'll tighten them up now. 19mm. I should know this. It's very hard to remember everything. Some people will know it. Now we should start to see the hole for the split pin. Pretty much as tight as we can go. Am I seeing the hole? Yes, I am. It's perfectly in line. So it is. They are right. The hole now exactly in the right position. Yes, you could have had thinner, but you definitely couldn't have had thicker washers there, because that's just in line with the nut. Now bear in mind there's some powder coating on that which will affect the inner faces, I suppose, so it probably, and these are going to wear in as well. You've got to bear in mind that too with powder coating, because you're going to get a degree of movement in the powder coat, and that's going to eventually wear its way in, because it's not a machined face. So you need to periodically go round the clip after probably a good few thousand miles and check everything's all tight again. I've noticed that on my car. I've had to just nip a few bolts up that weren't there. I'm gonna set it so that it's in line with the hole. I think I can see it there. I need a torch really to see that. Anyway, that's okay. That cap can come off there. Well, with one hand it can. Cap come off. Oof. Revealing our ball joint. Same this side. Lower. One. Off. Nut back on. They've got an Allen key in the middle to lock them when you tighten them up. So this now has the carrier on it, but we don't want to put the carrier on yet. We want to put the carrier on the bottom, put the spring in, put the spring compressor in, then draw that up, and then that's locked in, and you've got that section done. And that's the hardest bit, it's just using that spring compressor. You've seen it when I've taken the items apart. We have the front springs just here. Have a look at these. These are standard Bramble springs. so we're not going lowered like the other cars just yet. This is going to be fun because it doesn't even look like anywhere near fitting at the moment as it stands, you know. I don't think you have to have that tie bar off to do this. It should withdraw out that hole, but I seem to remember something about it that needing to be loose. So it doesn't matter that I've tightened it up on here and I've not wasted much time. And just undo those two nuts if I have to. Point you down so you can see what the hell I'm talking about, these two nuts on the tie bar. It just doesn't look like the spring's going to go in there as it stands without the tie bar coming off, because this needs to go even further. Oh no, it's allowing me to do it just. I think we'll get away with this. I'm going to set this up now and just get an idea of what I'm about to do, because I'm a little unsure exactly the best way to do it. I think it's pretty straightforward. I bet you were on it before I was. I bet you when I started building this you're thinking, nah, the idiot's done it wrong. Okay, but it doesn't really matter because at least I've learned how I'm putting it all back together and finding all the bits in all the tubs. Yes, this doesn't go on there. Yes, it's not connected on here. This lower wishbone is almost down there, and then you bring it up and you slowly bring it up till you can get it between there. Of course, it's the reverse of what I did. If I watched back my own videos, I'd know. It just goes to show memory, it just ain't as good as it was. Of course, we undo there, we undo there. This comes down and it gets offered up as a unit, which is why we need to decide on the springs now. I'll go and look at what other springs I've got. I think I've got a set of Burton lowered ones, but I'm wary. When the engine and gearbox are in this, that automatic's a slightly heavier gearbox than the standard auto, and also I think that on automatic cars the springs were different to compensate for the extra weight of the automatic box. I may be wrong on that, and I think that Ruby sits lower than I wanted it to because of the auto pulling down on those springs. So it may be that I've got to go with these. I think there's only one way we can do it, and that's to fit them and then just set the car up, and if they have to be changed later you can do it with this in position in the car, so it's not the end of the world. It's a bit of a tricky what I want to really be doing, but with everything new and fresh, at least there's not going to be any rusty bolts to be undoing if we do change the springs and we're not happy with Bramble's ride height. So standard springs are there for the offering if we want them. Do we do it? I'll go and get the other springs and just see how much of a difference there is between the ones I've got from Burton. We'll put them side by side, and apologies on my screw up there. What an error, sorry, and I bet you saw it coming. Anyone who's built Mark III's would have just been saying, what's he doing? Well, a bit of finding out where all the nuts and bolts were hasn't done any harm. Lining it all up, it's not done any harm. Yes, it's a mistake, but it's not too late, is it? You know, it's all part of the fun. It's all part of being human. We all mess up. Okay, let's go and find them other springs, and then we'll line up the other spring next to this one, just see what it's like. And then we're heading towards 7 o'clock, so I'll be calling it a day in 15 minutes, so we probably won't do the spring thing today, but at least we're starting to zone in on all the bits that we need, and we can start like sort of focusing in on bits. And then one side of course helps us with the other side because we know exactly what bolt to get, and we've been digging them out as we went along. Okay, we'll break for now. I'm going to get the other spring. Stay with me. Cortina City. Well, I can't fit them springs on the right, it'll be on the floor. There's like 2.5 inches there. They're too low. The ones are a little bit too high. We could have done with something just in between. We can only hope that the gearbox will drop it down. The auto box extra weighting might help. I think I'm going to have to go for the left hand side. That's too far. It'll just be too much. I can't do it. So yeah, we're going to have to fit the original Bramble springs, which were powder coated, and see what happens. Can't cut them down really, you just got to get the right one. I think if Burton's don't do it, you can get them from Rally Design. It may be worth having a little look what Rally Design I've got on offer before we go any further. So I'll research on the computer at Rally Design and see what's out there, because it's a big job and it's best to try and get it right. Tempted to just fit those and see what happens, just out of curiosity, and then change the springs later on. Bear in mind we'll have a nice garage to do it in, so it won't be too bad a job. Got to give it some thought. For now, I'm calling it a day. Just a few minutes for you, a whole day for me. It's time. It is time for our spring compressor tool. Come on out. It is time. We're going to go with a standard spring for now. Okay, bottom arm out. This inside face, take the powder coating off, or you'll never get the arm back in, especially if you're going to have to do this when the car's on its wheels again. So we've cleaned up the inside of there, took the powder coat off and greased it. I know we're losing some protection, but I'm telling you don't want to be struggling trying to get that bottom arm in later on. Okay, so we're going to set this up now. I'll show you how we do this. Okay, so here is the spring compressor. It's a long bar, high tensile bolt in the end of it. Something I made based upon Ford's tool. If you're in the club, you can hire one of these out. This one or the club's one. You put it inside the spring. This fits where the shock absorber would normally fit, and it's effectively an adjustable shock absorber. You unwind the rod, the bolt, and then it's long enough to fit through a fully extended spring. So what happens is, as you tighten up on this bolt, it draws the spring together. It basically draws the lower wishbone arm together and starts to bring it up into there. I'm going to be using an electric ratchet impact gun to do it. Once you start on this road, if this was ever to fail, bang, you've got all that energy release from the spring. Can be very dangerous. So the worst case scenario, you wear some shatterproof safety goggles if this does let out and it hits you in the face. If you can at least have a fighting chance of saving your eyes, to pretty much sustain any other injuries and get away with them scar wise, but your eyes, no. So here we go for this one. Can we do it? Let's hope so. See what we can do. Okay, the spring compressor is fitted. Just showing you how it goes. Can you see it in the centre of the spring and it comes under? If I flip you upside down, you should be able to see. There you go. That little base plate there is picking up the two holes from the shock absorber where the shock absorber would normally mount. Alright, and then as we go up, we then fit on the top bolt where the shock top bolt would go, and you can see the top of the spring compressor just there. So it's a long telescopic threaded bar really, and what we do now is we wind this bolt there up until there's enough to get that bush into the bottom and get the bolt through. And once that bolt's through there, we then put the hub carrier on, and the hub carrier then locks it together in combination with that bolt, and that's how it works. It's going to be a tricky one. It always is, and you always get worried when you do this that it might let go, but there's no reason why it should. I'll give you a side view, see what's going on. Alright, I've got fireworks going off. They're getting rained on. They're getting rained on. It's chucking it down Friday night, so it's bonfire weekend. And you can hear the explosions going off. Even though, well, it's because of the wonderful things that he does. We've got the window open. Why? It's blooming boiling in here. I've got the heating set too high. Right. Because what happens with the heating, I forgot to say, there's the controller. It's 23 degrees. Tropical. George Michael would love it in here. Right, now then, we'll turn it down a couple of degrees. Although when it goes frosty, it's just that the heat carries on going. Great though, very nice to work on. Too good, because I'm too hot. So that's it. If we start winding that in now, I'm going to use the electric tool, just because it's quicker. It'll start to draw that up to a point where we can slot the front of that lower wishbone in. It's why it's important to have the face of this quite resistance free, because you don't want to be struggling there trying to knock it when this is all under tension. You want to be in and out as quick as you can. You also want to have your hub carrier ready and make sure that it's ready to sit on there and lock in place, and then you can release the tension and danger's over. So that's where I'm up to with it. I'm going to leave it for tonight. The fact I've just got that set up is good enough for me to sleep on. Okay, quick tidy up and then tea time, and some video editing to do. A lot of things going on. Okay, hope you're enjoying so far out there, Patreon and YouTube land, Cortina City. It's no good. I couldn't help it. I had to do it before I went in. Oh no! I had to do it. It's too late. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! 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 Oh, take that off. That's the hub carrier. So you can see that I need my ear defenders. You can see what I'm talking about now. This slowly starts to get closer to there as this builds up its tension. But I definitely need my ear defenders. I better go and get them. Hold on. Now, once we get these on, the danger's really over. And it could still go, but it's not going to eject itself. I haven't got a spanner for those nuts. I don't know what size they are. Hold on. Okay, I've got the carrier on, hub carriers on, and if we just nip up these 22s just a little bit just so that they're on the thread, if the tool does fail, now it can't really eject out quite the same way, because it'll sort of go half down. It's going to save half my head anyway. Okay, here we go. There we go. Come, start going now. Okay, most of the danger's over. All we've got to do now is rubber mallet or a block of wood and just knock this bottom till we can get that bolt through. Once that bolt's through, we're in the clear. Okay, so we are close up and personal. You can see the tension built up in the spring, and now look, we're starting to go into the area there. We may now be able to pivot that in. Quite often you can do that, you don't need to go any further, you can just sort of rock the bottom. So we get a block of wood now and just tap that in, hopefully we're all done and good to go. Scary! Now it's not too bad, you just got to be ready for it, you know. I'm probably making a meal out of nothing. Talking of meals, I'm blooming hungry. I just lightly tap that and you can now see where the bolt, we're nearly there actually, and we're coming in line. I'll see if I can get you on the tripod and we'll do it together. Let's see what we can do. Just one more knock away from victory. Oh, you just slip. We might be in there. Just get the bolt through quick. We're done. We're in, done. Bolt through, not too bad. So just a nut to go on the end of there, and then Allen key in the middle of the ball joints just to lock the centre of the ball joint taper, and then we can tighten up the 22s, and then we can start putting on the hub carrier if we want. So we're in there. Oh, we've got to take the shock absorber, take the spring compressor tool out, and then replace with the shock absorbers, which are in stock and on the shelf. Some Spax there, adjustables. We'll do that tomorrow. It's Friday night, it's 8 o'clock. It's not crackerjack, it's tea time. See you tomorrow. Okay, the spring compressor is still on. This is the next day now. Did you enjoy that? I had a sleep. I hadn't been to a car auction, classic car auction. More about that another time. Took the spring compressor up even higher to make this tie bar here line up better with the bushes and the arrangement we've got, where these tie bar bushes at the end are in place. If you tension up the spring compressor there, it allows this to centralise a bit better. Now we've got the floflex bushes on, and they don't come with a little set of bolts which you're going to need to bolt it on. Trick with this is don't over tighten it, because the bolt will try and squeeze itself through the rubber and the rubber will push through it. So you just nip it up. Make sure you use nylock nuts on these. Got to use nylocks on them. 2 washers either side. That's a 6mm hole you've got to drill out, because this clip, yours may be different, this clip was made for a smaller fixing screw. It doesn't quite suit a decent sized bolt. So 6mm drill bit into your mount holes for the rubbers, so that you can pass through these little bolts now. 10mm socket on the head of the bolts, and I just bring them in till it's starting to pinch the floflex either side, then leave it as long as it's got the thread was long enough to get the actual nylock engaged into the threads. Too short a bolt and the nylock wouldn't have started at that point, so you need to get that just right, both sides. Then what I do to get the general area of adjustment, because this affects your geometry, all the ones I've got, I count 13 threads out, or in the case of this where the end of the bar was slightly damaged, where the nut wouldn't come off, but we've still got the rest of it okay, but I count it's 20.3, so 220mm, I think it's 20, was it 200mm now? Well, whatever it is, oh no, I'm on inches there, what am I on about? Yeah, mil there, I'm on the mil. 20.3 till I get to the end. Alright, that's how I did it on the end of that nut. So I've just gone outside to the Portuguese car, which I hope's not altered. I haven't any other reference material for this just yet, but for now I've gone and copied exactly the end of the bolt there to the face of the nut, assuming it's the same nut, which it seemed to be, and that was 20.3 on that measure. To get it, you just slacken off this back bolt so you can bring this forward and in on the threads, and then when you're done, tighten that one against it. It'll lock on the actual sleeve insert of the tie bar bush. You can't actually over compress the tie bar bush, it locks itself up by the nature of the sleeve pushing through. So that's now on, and then them little securing bolts are up and we're tightened up at that end there. So that is under tension. So now I can release the coil compressor, spring compressor, because this is now in line with that. It just helps to have this squashed up, and this just finds its alignment a little bit better by nature of the fact it's under tension. So we can actually release the tension on the tool, and this will all come down. This should just stay in position. If it's not compressed, you'll find that it's hard to get this tie bar into the centralized area of the eyelet that's in the clip itself, the cradle itself. So this is what I'd better tell you about that. It's quite important. You might curse me if I didn't say, well, how's he done that? Well, that's how I did it. Because them floflex bushes are slightly different than the Ford ones, the way that they fit. Alright, so those cup washers on. And that cup washer, the big cup washer this side. And that's it, you're good to go. This needs the hole drilling for the split pin, because this was damaged and the split pin's still embedded in there, and the end of the threads was slightly damaged, but we're done. We can clean that up. Luckily the threads inboard there are fine. It's just that I couldn't count 13 because they're damaged here. Probably do it on the other side, so that's why I measured. And that's only approximate. This can be set up on the car. I don't really know what difference this makes. It obviously needs to be under tension to create the strength there, but in terms of how it will affect the steering geometry and the tracking of the car, it will affect it. We just need to know exactly the method. It's one for us to study in the manual nearer the time. Last car I did, I just set it on 13. I've had no problems, no unusual tyre tread after 20,000 miles. So if you let go of the wheel at 60 mile an hour briefly, carefully, it drives in a straight line. So on Ruby, my last restoration where I rebuilt all of this, I managed to get it right, but not by any science, more by just counting those threads on the end. It worked that time, maybe okay on here as well, but we'll see. If it's not, and we find that the geometry is wrong, it might be an idea to look at this area, but it's easy to be done on the car, so it's no big deal. So that's that. We're now going to release the spring compressor. This will then drop that arm down, and we'll then be under tension, but we're locked in position with the hub carrier. In order to keep the frame built evenly and to balance evenly on my jig, it's now time to turn it all around once we remove the spring compressor and do the same on this side. And indeed, you can see we've already started to begin building it up. That's going to keep the weight balanced, and also it's fresh in your mind as well how you've just done that side. So we'll go alternate. I think that's a good technique. I'll carry on doing that now. You're nicely well lit. Hoping you can see clearly there. That's all great. It's time to carry on. I'll go and just release spring compressor then, and then move on to this side. Here we go. This side next, which is going to be near side. No, offside. Driver's side. Here we go. Okay, ear defender's in. Still under tension now. And let go, don't like it. Right, that's now coming to the end of its threads, yet they're still under a little bit of tension, so what's going to happen is, when that releases the end of the thread, it's going to ping down a little bit. There's just a last little bit of tension on this. Worries me a little bit. We're just going to have to put the impact under, step back a touch, because I think that's going to ping. I really do. It won't ping far, but it will ping. Let's see what happens. I've got to say, a little bit concerned here. I don't mind saying it, I'm a bit concerned. We're going to have some action here now. I know something's going to be funny. What can we do? We need a blanket. Hold on. It's going to go, I've got a feeling. We're okay. Just. I mark in yellow the thread, so when I see that yellow coming up, I know it's coming towards the end. So we're good. That just about does it. There's not much in it when you've got a big spring like that one. So, free to get out, shock absorber piece. That bolt, we can fit the shock now, we may as well. Let's get a shock in there. Great dolly, just twists where you want it. Okay, now for the shock absorber. Okay, not quite as upbeat then as I normally am, because I was a little bit worried about that. We have nice new Spax adjustable front shocks coming out of the box for you. Let's get this in. Okay, nothing to just stop us opening these out and slotting that straight in. Let's hope it's long enough so we can get it without having to compress the spring to get the shock on. That's the other challenge. Let's just see what we get. You with me out there in YouTube and Patreon land. Come on, get on Patreon. YouTube pays pittance. How can I keep these videos going on YouTube rates? Impossible not to keep regular video updates. You know, I'd like to bang out films a lot more, but they don't give you a lot of incentive. Okay. Yes, it's a hobby. It's not a business. Right. That ain't gonna reach. Let's just see what we... Okay, if you can't get your shock absorber in because it's too short, because the spring's pushed too far down, normally the weight of your wheel and the weight of your car would help you with this if your engine was fitted, but in this case we just use a strap, some cardboard to stop it digging into our lovely powder coat. Tension up the ratchet strap, just going round underneath the ball joint, and then you can get the shock in, and then once the shock's in, release, and it'll just tension up on the shock. So that's how I've done it that way before. Okie dokie, Spax is in. I'll just show you the fixing bolts for it. Just there, you got your two Spax bolts. So that's underneath. There's the Spax sensitivity or soft and hardness adjuster. You can just get to the adjuster. This side's done. There's the bolt through at the top. It doesn't have a washer, curiously. Don't know why. It annoys me, that, really. I thought that'd have a washer. Could I have put one on? Possibly. I just don't know why some decide not to put washers on. Anyway, I've copied the book and it doesn't show a washer there. I better not find another book and find the washer there, else it'll be getting fitted. Right, the great thing about the dolly, we keep on plugging the dolly, don't we? Around we go to do exactly the same thing under this side. People don't want me to be serious all the time. I speak to you out there when I meet you. Don't forget, say hello if you're at the NEC, although this video may not make it before. No, I don't think it will. You've been to the NEC. Hello. Good to meet you when I saw you there, wherever you were, when I met you at the NEC. I don't know who it is, because I've not got there. Next week for the NEC. You can see the NEC. We can just start to be a little bit lopsided with the weight building up that side. So that's why we now balance the weight and a exact replica of what we did on that side. So now it's time to put the spring compressor onto this bottom piece. We've now fitted the bottom ball joint. We offer up, let's get the bolt ready. Let's get everything ready to fit that. And let's do that again. Do you really want me to film another mission with a spring compressor? I think it makes for exciting viewing, watching my face. Show me your spring compressor face, baby. Mine's all pursed lips and screwed up. There we are. Yeah. Help. Okay, Allen key and a 22 for these ball joints. Well, at least we're safe now. With this hub carrier on, it can't really go anywhere. Even if it's not connected at front, it would just try and kick down a little bit. It would go a bit skew-whiff. It would go a bit mental, but it wouldn't hurt me. Me tough lock. I love them tough lock gloves. I'm just going to get another pair on in a minute. Thanks to Paul, as always. And everybody else who supports me, sends me gifts, gives me advice. YouTubers who leave all the great comments. Patrons who give us financial support. People who send gifts. Thank you all. You're good guys, you're good girls, you're good people. 99.99% of people are good. There's hardly any. And half the bad ones, you can usually fix them. Just give them a bit of time and try and listen to them. Usually they've got something to say. And that's the reason why. However, some people are a lost cause, but I never like giving up. 19! For these two at the bottom, just to give them a little chomp at the bit. Have we got a 19 socket on hand, anybody? Oh, I still need a 19 socket. Why would that go? Why would the 19 decide to go? 2 spanners then, if that's the case. I'd rather do it with a socket. Oh please, let me find a 19. You really want to stay on while I look for sockets? The 19's been out, so there's no reason why it shouldn't be here. And yes, I can go underneath it. There it is, I can see it. Hold on. Apologies for going over there while you're still rolling. That's not very professional of me. These will be quite a bit of... Let's give this a 1-2. I'll buckle now. And yes, I could put the air gun on it. We're okay with this. Well, okay so far. Remember, we don't really want to nip this all the way up yet. But I do want to get the worst of it on. So I'm doing the tie bar bolts going through the ball joint holes. And these are nylocks. Coming up there now. I don't like that angle. I don't like that angle at all. What happened is, when I tap these through, because it was slightly over on that bottom ball joint alignment, it scratched the thread. But it's okay. Right, I'll live with that for now. It's time to continue tensioning up. Hold on. Sit you around. There, I want to carry on going. Until this starts to find its home. It's time for the block of wood. Ducking under. Block of wood. Tap. That's ready to start going. It just needs now this. Ear defenders on then. Some new compact ones from Paul. In. And then a little bit more. Right. We may need a pry bar in here, I don't know, just to get it out that way a little bit, or the block of wood, one or the other. And it seems to be this that's moved it, even though it's free to move now, isn't this? Because that's free to move. So we just need to get that, and you can just see it on screen. I don't know if it'll keep on going, if it's going to pull it in. It's heading that way. Oh my gosh, I'm crazy. That's because I am. We're just there. So it's gone on its own. I've not even had to guide that. We just need a lever bar really, just to lever it out a little bit, or even flat blade screwy in that end. Hold on. Let's just see what we can do here. Yes, we can do it. We can do that. Now then, which way does the bolt go? It goes from my end, and of course I have the bolt. I have got the bolt. So I'll spin you around. WD going over, but it's okay. Look how you can move this, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it good? Aren't you excited? Aren't you jumping up and down? Right, there we are. That's the target for tonight. And look, no problem. We're actually perfectly. Right, let's get some grease on the bolt then. Come on, let's make something that's not particularly interesting sound very interesting. There's nothing stopping me. Do we have nuts and bolts on this? Washers, I mean. Hang on, looking on diagram. I should have remembered from the other side. That was the whole point of doing what you're doing. You're going like that. No. Why don't you do that? Do it at the top, but they don't at the bottom. Anyway, it's actually in a perfect place to go through, but I need to be of either side. We're going to straddle this, so standing up then for this, put the screwdriver in just to catch the edge of the tube of the bush. Comes into line this side. Now we need to strike this with a hammer. I think we're stuck over here. Oh, I've almost done it with the palm. Here we go. There we go. No problem. You see that pop out there like that? So the danger is clear. We're all right. We can take off the. Now what I should really do? No, I'll ratchet strap it later, because I'm going to say if I put the ratchet strap on now, it's going to be over tight, and that ratchet strap will be under massive tension. We only need enough just to get the shock absorber on. So we're going to remove quickly now. We've done this side really quick. We're going to move out that, and it's all going to start to swing downwards. But before we do, we shall now secure the tie bar bushes. Spin round. Here we are. Look, tie bar bushes there. And you can see that's almost in the middle already. So we need to put that on, and then get our little nut and bolt fixing kit. Remembering to put the bolts through that way, because you have them this way, the cup that comes over there touches, so you need to put it through that way. Let's get our fixing kit, because we planned ahead with our magnet tray. Ah, hey, where's my bolts? Oh dear. Well, I thought I planned ahead. Oh, they're over there, I can see them just out of range. Hold on while I go and get them. Right, we need a washer on each one. And we've got to line them up to go through both tie bar bushes. Shouldn't be too difficult to do. It's a question of pulling it apart. That's through. Well, that one was alright. This one is okay as well. Just oh, this one's you're okay there. There you go. Right. Have a look, I'll zoom you in. Whoops, lost you then. We're there. Right, washer and nut on either side. Nylocks they've got to be. Okay. Got to be nylocks. And you don't over tighten them, because they'll try and pull through the bush. Let me get them on now, and I'll resume filming when that's all back and assembled. Right, now we're going to count or measure. Let this off at the back and let this bolt pull the bar through. So now draw it together. Start counting the threads this side. Need the magnifier to do that. I can measure 20.3. Not set to go yet. Nearly. A little bit off on this one, just to give it that extra. Right, magnifier needed so that I can actually see the threads. I'll set that up. I'm not going to let you watch that one. Okay, we're all done there, and we can now take the telescopic spring compressor out and replace with a shock absorber. We're done there. Counted the threads at 13 or 20.3 sticking out at the other side. Everything ready to go. Just remove that and then put the shock in. We're going to have to put the ratchet strap round it, of course, because we won't be able to get the shock in. They're not long enough to go. They're just slightly shorter. It's not the shock is short, it's just that you would have the weight of the car compressing this slightly enough to bring it in, but when there's absolutely no weight on it, it makes it a little bit further extended there. Okay, nothing to stop me unwinding this. I'll save you the pain of that one. It's just going to be a straightforward unwind. Or do you want to watch it? I'll tell you what, put you on the floor. Come on, down on the floor with me. Okay, with that side done, I start now on the brake backing discs, brake backing pads, sort of brake backing shields, and then start assembling the hub carrier just there, then start getting that ready. Need to get the bearing kit out, get our parts ready to slot everything onto that carrier there, that shaft there, Spax in, bolted in, you can see them there. So we're looking good, but we've run out of time. It's coming up to 7 o'clock. It's been a long day because I've been at the auctions today and started early for that one. So for now we'll leave you. It's just a few minutes, of course. It's a whole day for me. See you in a sec. Looking good on the clip build. Great. Okay, and a good morning to you. Those minutes have passed and I'm back for the next day's mission on the shell, on the clip. Not the shell has gone. It's time for the brake hub. The brake hub, no, what are you talking about? The front wheel hub. I'm going to build that up. So there's the carrier. There's our hub down there. Down we go. And we need now a brake disc, so I'll go across to our organised stores department, find a brake disc. Yes, we've got one in here. There they are, waiting in the wings. A good idea to have everything ready on those downtime moments, of which this is, or was, acquired in such said period. Let's open that up, see what we got. Now, we all like unboxing videos. Join me overhead as we have a look at the disc. Look at that seal. If you like a nice gold seal, a bit of gold seal, love it. High temperature. Whoa! You even get a fitting kit for those who've forgotten, like me. Price not bad, 18 quid each. Is it worth using your old one? No, not when you're putting all new kit on. And look at that, a beauty there. And hold on, let's use this to lay it out. Let's do an unboxing video of a computer game and make £1 million on YouTube. Woo! Like this, I think. Yeah, I don't think like that. I think that's the front. No grease between it, because you could copper slip, I suppose. There's no need. One of those nicely galved. Just need to find the right nuts for this now, bolts for this now. Bolt that onto there, and then really need to be doing these wheel bearings. No bearing kit included. We've got a bearing kit though. It's time. Wheel bearing kit, some bolts to hold this together, nothing at all to stop us sliding it onto the carrier. So things are going pretty quick. This site's handy if you just want to check and you don't like your Haynes manual. Fordopia.org, great for checking stuff. So I just went onto the hub carrier thing, and then I can get the printout or just this screen. In my case, could have printed it off. I can just refer to this screen, it's right next to me, so not a problem. There it is, all the parts we need to get this back together. Let's get together again. That's not politically correct, of course. Let's get together again. Rock and roll, rock, rock and roll, rock and roll, rock, rock and roll, rock and roll, the rock and roll, the rock and roll, rock. It's a shame because I like singing that song, but you're not allowed to sing it anymore. And I like that. Rock and roll, the TARDIS, rock and roll, rock. Do you hear the songs on the jukebox, baby? That's just quite a groovy song, what a shame. Right, bearing kit comes without the castle bolt, so we're going to have to go and find the bits that we took off this when we stripped it. Did we plan ahead? Did we put it in a plastic bag? I think we did, and I think it's on in the engineering stores department in a bag with all the bits. So I shall now go in the back shed and find we need the little castle bolt thingy-majig to do this. Okay, we get the grease to do it, we get the split pen to do it, we get the bearing seal, everything in this first line kit from your local motor factors. $6.95 your wheel bearing. Wow, 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 wow. Well, it could have been $10.95 actually. Anyway, it's not. Oh, there is a race with this one, not mega. You do get the races. A race revelation. We'll knock these races out then. We left them in, didn't we? So that the electroplate wouldn't go on the face, just in case a micron's worth of electroplating may have affected it. So we're going to knock the races out first. Okay, that's the first job, and get the new races tapped in with an appropriate socket size, or a round bar, or another tool. Okay, so I shall now knock these out on the bench and insert these new ones. That's the first job on this. And I'll also go out and find the nut, which I took off and put in a little plastic bag. Go and check. Bear right with me, this is exciting. I'm trying out royalty-free music, and what a great welcoming screen for the royalty-free music. We can rock, and we can't get in any trouble according to this. We have to plug our FM, but I think we might be in here. Wow, I can have music on and film. All thanks to Rock and Roll Rocker. I never would have looked otherwise. We better get on, we better get busy. I'm going to get my cab and boogie. I got a bit of Errol Flynn's bathtub if anyone's interested. We can go halves on eBay. Piece of Errol Flynn's bathtub. Brilliant. You can see the tide marks on it, the watermarks on it. 1 person, 2 person, even 3 persons. Okay, just use I just use a disposable screwdriver, one which you don't mind a little bit of end damage, and you can knock the races out, knock opposite sides. So you just get it on the inside, knock 1, then opposite, and 1, 6, 3, and 9 positions. Just alternate and spin round. Get the other race out, opposite sides when you knock it, and then out come 2 races, which we don't need now. We now place the new ones in, just knock them in. Now we're going to use this, which should be circular, but it's square. Can you get a square peg in a round hole? Let's try. I can see the sun is shining, and it's obvious. It's bloody obvious. that goes there. Okay. Let's try this. Nice and parallel. There we go. Both sides in. Ready. Let's get over there. Disc faces that way in, but before we do, copper slip doesn't melt. Don't really need to do this, I suppose. We'll do any harm now. So there we go there. There we go there. There you go. There you go nicely. That goes there. There we go. There we go. Lovely. Whoops. Okay, bearing is in. Put the grease that comes with it goes in, of course, and the little bearing seal goes and just pushes in there like this. I think this is right. Grease up the shaft, locking bars on for the bolts at the back. Offer up. Should sort of make a gooey sound. Yeah, there's your gooey sound. We're in there. Now we need to just get the front set up on. Again, off screen. Just a little bit. Just a little bit off screen there for you. Bearing. Grease. It's got groove. It's got meaning. Grease is the word that you heard. High temperature. Bearing grease for you. The order of the day. Little bit more. We're going to use it all. And that was that. And then it's a question of getting the nip and tuck just right. You've got to just nip these up. Not too loose, not too tight. Turn till tight and a quarter back's the normal rule. But we can always look at this at any time. I'm just getting everything assembled. We now have a spinning wheel again on Project Bramble. Let's get a socket on that, nip it up. Don't know what time it is. You guessed right first time for 27 mil. So no much more than that. And we'll check those later on. We'll make a note to ourselves. We've got a cage to put on it, split pin to go through, but we'll make a note to make sure these need to be double checked, because I've no guarantee that's exactly the right torque setting for that. We'll leave the caps and split pins off for now. Let's get the calipers on then, and this side's nearly done. That's feeling alright, feeling groovy. I'm going to dig out those lovely big red calipers, and we're going to get the locking plate for the caliper back bolts secured, calipers in position, and we'll do the same that we did this side. A hub carrier to build up and a brake disc place on the other side to keep our clip balanced on the jig. Okay, leave that with me, we'll get right back to you. Okay, calipers next, caliper bolts. Caliper locking bar, caliper bolts, got a little smooth part on them. Caliper itself, wind the bearing nut all the way in till it's fully tight, then it squashes the hub right the way onto the spline, otherwise your caliper doesn't go on fit between the discs, and then just back off there. So all the way until it's fully tight and back off. That's how you get that. This can go on, nothing to stop it. Straight on like that. Little bit of copper slip on the ends of these can be tight, these bolts, so it is a good idea to copper slip these. So set that up like that. Grab bleed nipple at the top, because air goes up and rises, so you can get these the wrong way round. Just need to get them to the right torque setting now, and we're done for the caliper. Just get the brake pads fitted in it. Maybe we'll get that kit out of the way so it's not on the shelf, it's done and fitted. So we want to fit these brake pad kits. The anti-rattle pins, I'll show you them in a minute, they can be notoriously tricky. The anti-rattle pins, I can never remember exactly how to set them up, so we better get that puzzle solved and then we can do the same on the other side. Looking nice though there, I think you'll agree. Look at that, a lovely setup we've got. There we are. Everything seems to be okay. Centralised in the middle of the disc on the caliper. All looks good to me. I've done this a few times, but it's always good refreshing your memory. Take you off the tripod, bring. No, a correction, we don't use this locking bar. The locking bar is built into these hose holders here, so that must just be off another car. That's what's thrown me there. These fit. Hope some keen-eyed people would have spotted that one. Thought he's got it wrong. Yes, these, a pair of those for each caliper. Just got to work out which way round they go again. Don't worry, I'll check because we've got a clip outside. We've got another bracket fitted. 13 head bolt there. This bracket supports the brake flexi hose. Comes down the handed left and right hand. Round it goes, and then our flexi brake hose, which we had in stock, slots in to that lower bracket we just fitted on the back of the caliper, which also has the lock-in tangs on it for the caliper. And of course, you idiot, that's the brake input. That's just a bleed nipple. Oh, I'm dopey today. But you're all saying, what is he on about? Yes. I've got some stainless steel fixing hardware for these flexi hoses. They just don't rust because these are always bad for seizing up. So some stainless ones I got off eBay, special threads for the brake hose ends. So we'll fit them now, clean my nails, and we'll fit them now. 17mm to go on. A little bit tricky one-handed, but we're on. Okay, let's get them tightened up. Shake washer on, a little bit of grease on, we'll wipe that back down. Let's fit those. Mustn't forget them. Go. We're on there. Nice, this one. Okay, flexi hose. Shake washer, flexi hose. Lovely. That's it. There we go. And of course, that thing at the top on the caliper, the input for the brake line. I don't know how I managed to get that wrong. There we go. All ready. That side's done. We'll do the same on the other side. And then we'll make the brake pipes up. I've decided I'm going to change the internet radio It sounds like a doctor's waiting room. There's the price to pay for royalty free. Patient number 24, please. That reminds me of those blooming post office. That's why I don't do eBay. I just don't like going to the post office. Cashier number 4, please. Cashier number 6, please. Somebody paying in about 1,001 pence pieces. Someone messing about with a cheque. Who uses cheques? Checks? Backing plates going on. If I switch the camera to point exposure, all this comes into exposure, but everything else whites out. You might have noticed that. I was trying out that technique. I'll show you the difference. Tell me what you prefer. Here we go. Okay. And your hair sticking out. 13 on these. So we expose a little brighter, you see. I look like I'm in a nuclear flash. Woohoo! One wrong bolt in. Don't you worry about that. No. Isn't it nice with shiny new parts? Oh! But listen to that crazy music. This is supposed to be rock music. I'm glad you can't hear it. Hey, it's blooming terrible. It's all like what a load of rubbish. Oddball bolt. We have an oddball bolt for some reason. And that's an oddball bolt. What the? Load of rubbish. What a load of rubbish. Can you stand this excruciation anymore? I'm looking for a bolt. I'll be right back. We're on. Background rock music. Okay, we are now on brake pipes. We've just made up these small ones here for the calipers and connected up. Bit of hand forming there. My super miniature brake forming tool's lost its plastic insert. I can't find it anywhere. Where have you hidden them? So we had to do a little bit of hand forming. It doesn't follow the pattern of the Ford one, which has a very acute bend here then comes back. It's just not possible with my tools to create that without kinking the pipe. Now I believe this will work. I think this is how I've done rubies. They've come up and over instead of lying quite flat. We'll see how those go. If not, I'm going to have to get a tool for it, but we'll see. I think they're alright. Now we're doing the long run across. The run across the clip here. So this is the original pipe which we're going to use to copy. There's one tight turn. These are the difficult ones to get without that miniature forming tool. I have got forming tools, but they just don't get that radius. So I'm alright with these ones. This one's a little bit tight. We're going to have to use a bar and hand form it round because I've not got that tool. I think I can do a decent job. If it's no good, I'll wait till I get the tool, then redo it. So we're going to put a female end in this first, and we'll take you over to the flaring tool now. Just show you what we do. Okay, here's the Sykes Pick Advanced flaring tool, and I've got it on the RSJ. A towel down. I'm going to actually straddle the RSJ, so I'm sat on the actual jig, and there's two little blocks here. This is how they work. This block lifts up and squashes the pipe down, he keeps it in place. And then these eyelet type things here, these imprint into the copper the shape that you need. So for female ones, that's in a cup shape type. We have to do two operations. We have to squeeze it once, then we turn this to operation 2 on 4.75mm tubing, and then we squeeze again, and you get two impressions into it, which makes like a socket shape. Okay, whether I can get you on the vise now to show you this happening, we'll see what we can do. Okay, we should get you in there, lay the pipe in, and now I need the top block, which has gone missing. Oh dear me, where did that go? It's like riding a horse, this. Hey! Okay, see you in a bit, Jim. Yeah! Right on, cowboy. What are you doing, cowboy? Where's, oh, here's the block. Okay, sorry about cracking up. It's just one of them days today. It's been crack up air guitar day all day long. Right, I just leave it a little bit proud of the front of the blocks. Bring the little mini vise across, clamp down. Squeeze it tight. Operation 1 on the 4.75 setting. Then squeeze. Hold on, I think we've not got the blocks lined up. 2 secs. Are we all in? Double check again. Lock across. Operation 1. I think we should be right there. No. For some reason we're bottoming out, I don't know why. Is it catching on the vise? Need to be a little bit higher up in the vise. It just catches the top, but you can't pull the handle over. There's something stopping that. Hang on, let me just see. What's stopping that going in there? Nothing. Because the die's the wrong way round. This is a day of silly things today. Just because it's a Sunday, it doesn't have to be all chaotic. Right, now then, the block had it the wrong way round. This will just squish straight in now, watch. Squish, in it goes. Don't do that. Take this out. Yeah, this vise, you could just, it's like you can just skate around the unit. Bring it out a little bit now, because it's squashed it in, so bring it out just a little bit proud of the block. Squeeze down again for the second operation. Switch to OP2 on 4.75mm pipe, because this is can be set for different size tubes. Squeeze again, and we're done. I'll bring it up to you now. You can see that I've made a sort of concave shape there. I'm waiting for the camera to just give us, and that goes up like that. There we go. So I'm only going to do that end. This is overcut. It's a bit longer, and when I get to the end of the suspension clip subframe, I'll cut the exact size. It's time to get the bends in now. We'll go on the floor and hand form this. I do have various pipe forming tools, but none of them can do the curve right up close. They all require stepping back. These are the ones I normally use, and the little plastic insert's gone. They can do quite tight curves, but if you lock a ring of a spanner on and just gently move it around, you can start to get a curve on there, which we have. Be very careful not to kink it. So we got that in. Now we're going to make the rest of the shapes. We've got a copy of these shapes here. Then we should be alright. When we get that end, we'll cut it to the exact length, and that's quite easy to do. That's quite a shallow radius there, see. There's only this one that they've done tight. So I'll keep on hand forming this pipe for the front. Pipe for the suspension clip. No one likes us calling it a clip. Cradle. I call it a clip. These radiuses here aren't too bad. You can form them with your thumbs quite easily. So we're going to do that. We're going to actually hand form it best we can. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, you can watch me struggle with this now. So they're coming up, and now we've got a curve to go this way. So I'm going to mark this side where it bends away from me. I'll now bend that away from me. So I've got the marker pen on it, I know where it went. it's parallel with that one, so 2 thumbs in. I'm just going to gently bring it round with the thumbs. As you can see, those curves about what we need. So that's that one. Coming up a little bit tighter. There we go. Right, now then, we want to go, that's there. Now it starts to come this way. So that means we mark, I always mark the point where it's going to change direction on the actual side of the copper, then you don't forget which way. That now goes in towards me this way. That way. You can see how we're getting it, it's looking alright. And now, lay this down. Hope you can see up there. I've only quickly set you up on a tripod. And people watching and not watching the screen are listening out in the while they do other jobs. Hello, you listen to it on the screen. Okay, a curve there towards me, keeping it that way, curving in towards me now. Alright, we're getting it. Now that one's slightly up, so we need to just come up this way. You can see that, we've got to come up that way, which we can do. Told you could watch me struggle. Right, so now we're there. Over we go. And then there's a kind of a curve in it here. I mean, this has been bent a little bit as well, the actual one I'm using, so I'm just going to lay it on top. Very easy shape there. Try and get this straight. And now we lay it that way, we can see the shape that this one makes. So I want to copy that shape. So going away, flat there, starting to come in here. So I'm following in there, coming up a little bit more there. It's completely freeform. A little bit more. This follows the front suspension cradle. Got it right that time. And then a very gentle upright here. Let's just make sure they're lined up. That in front of that one, that behind that one. There we go. Up. And then at this point, ready to mark that. Now I've caught it so I can mark it. Here we go. There. Gentle 45 up. That's the one. And I'm coming to the top. Hope you just about see. I'm sorry about that. I've not set you up as good as I could. Over for a final curve over. And then we want to go right round now, but we have to put the fitting on the end, otherwise we won't be able to get it on once it's curved. So I've got to just follow that, measure the right points. I'm going to measure the right point. Sorry, it's a bit haphazard that, but it's a bit tricky. Sorry, we'll get you set up better in a sec. Right, I've marked where it finishes. Now I need to cut this. So let's use my little mini cutter, spinny cutter, mini spinny. Just got a little set of rolls and a little cutting disc inside. You'll have seen these, no doubt. Tighten as you go, a couple of times round, and keep turning the dial, and that puts tension on the cutting wheel, which eventually does what you need. Okay, that's cut. I've left just enough to get it into the block. It's about couldn't cut anymore. We put the fitting on, and we'll just about be able to flare the end of that. Just, if not, we can straighten this and bend it after. Cut to that now. Okay, well it looks like it's worked. It's kind of following the right shape. If we connect up at this end, going to just hand form this. I'll put you on the bench, we'll spin you around that's so you can see a bit better. Pop you down on the bench and we'll spin this whole setup around. Hold on, you go in there. Okay, I can spin you around now. I'm looking at the camera so I can see if you're in shot. Trying to get you decent, half decent angles and half decent lighting. Let's start at this end, but we're running over things like little bits of pipe, jamming the wheels. Right, there you go. I'm going to connect up here. 13mm just to nip this up. This is the female end that we flared when I was riding the horse, the hobby horse. 13 on these and then 11s on the smaller ones. So I'm going to nip this up. Curve's alright there, just. Got to watch the suspensions at the bottom. What you've got to watch is any moving parts are well clear. If anything's even got the chance of rubbing, you can't have it. You don't be rubbing through your brake pipes. If it needs checking later. Can't take no chances with brake pipes. So once the clip's on the car, when this clip's on the car, we will extensively check everything I've done in terms of these brake pipes and make sure they're good to go. Right, that can come down a little bit there. Along we go, working it round this end, then that needs to slacken that off because it rotates. There you go. Now then we need to be underneath that pipe as opposed to over that pipe. You want that pipe over that one, so really you want to put it on underneath, off again, and underneath the flex seat. Back on, and we're in the game. Okay, just leave that loose there. Now can you see all right? Should we bring you around a bit more? Let's get this other accessory light on it. There we go. Let's see what you got. There we have the pipe. It's heading up this way. Now with our first suspension clip, brake pipe clip on the suspension clip is there, and it's a little bit squished. Looks like it's got squished in the dip. Let me get a screwdriver and open that up. There we are. Right, this now clips into that. Pull on there to get the shape. And that one's a bit more of an acute bend on it to get it to go. So you just need to slot a spanner on that and give it a little bit more, of a turn. Other way. And it's like one of them games where you've got to not set the buzzer off. Give me a little bit more of a turn here. I'm trying not to, obviously. I just wish I had that little mini pipe bender. Someone's going to suggest something out there on YouTube. I know they are. They're going to say you can do X, Y or Z. Right. Here's the rest of the clips. That one goes in there. These ones clip from underneath here. And then these tines are very fragile. I can see them breaking. We're not going to have much chance moving them more than once. They're nice. That's neat. That's neat. That's neat. So it looks okay. Up this end, one more tag there. There you can bend them by hand very easily. I can't see them lasting. I mean, they're alright on this, but any more and they would have gone. And we've landed exactly in the right place, so we bent that one right. Let's get you in. Here we are. Just there. I'll bring you in a bit closer in case it's overexposing, but I've just did that exposure level just to... I noticed a lot of the time it washes out, and the fluorescent tubes are the pain. They're good, but they confuse the camera. This should just slot in really now into this, assuming this adapter's the right thread type. I've got a few of these and some are different. This could well be the wrong one. It's okay, we can swap it, but pipe's alright there. Wants a little bit of a final shaping, but that's not bad. On to something else. Okay, in my hand is the last pipe which I've copied, which was this one. I must admit, I always thought it went on the underneath and that the flexi joining hose now to the car came straight out of that, but on this, and it's straight off Bramble, that's how it came off. So we've copied that across, and there you have it. That's all the brake lines in. Round we go to there, and over on that one. Okay, so we've got them all. That pretty much finishes the brake lines. Flexi hoses on, everything good. So the clip then is almost done. The steering rack to go on, and a couple of little fixtures for the steering rack, some hidden bolts that slide in somewhere on this side, that side, there. They seem to be missing out the galv pack. I may not have put them in. I've got spare ones if I have to. I don't know, I've not seen them though. So there we go, that line follows quite well. I can live with that. That's the three-way adapter there, bolted on. Thanks to Wayne for the pipes, fixtures and fittings. He very kindly sent them out. We've mentioned that before. We do appreciate it. Very, very kind for Wayne to post them up and send them out, including some pipe and a load of other goodies. Really nice gesture. Appreciate that a lot. Okay, I'm going to call it a day for now. This will probably be the end of the footage on this clip because we're stacking up the footage. We could be into episode 33. This will be 32 probably. Stacking up the footage. Over and out for tonight. We'll see you on another clip. If it's the end of the video, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button. You'll know that when I've uploaded a new video. Over and out from Mk3 Cortina City on the clip. Suspension cradle build almost done. We'll see you soon. We're back! The bright lights and the fun fair of Morecambe await us. Can't wait to go to Frontierland any minute now. It's going to be real exciting. We're off to Morecambe, everybody. Wow! Sandcastles and fun fairs. Nice golden sands. Sunshine, golden sands. The Golden Mile of Morecambe. The Pleasure Beach. You got Frontierland. Mr. Blobby. Do you watch? We go and see Mr. Blobby. Yeah. This is a new bypass into Morecambe. Pretty bonny really. It sort of cuts out a lot of time. Not that I go to Morecambe very often. Let's go downtown Morecambe. Morecambe at night for the Esplanade and all the bright lights and all the attractions. They'll all be nice and candy floss, and there'll be burgers and onions, hot dogs, hooker duck, all sorts, all the fun of the accordions, bingo, everything. It's going to be great. I mean, it's a bit late in the season, but we're hoping we'll find some abandoned cars there too. We head off into the west. You see the setting sun ahead of us. Cumulonimbus cloud cover there. The temperature's about 5 degrees. Road conditions are fair to middling to good. Look at that red sunset now. The west coast of the UK. As we've completed our trip to find the XR2. So we found that. Now it's a little stop off in Morecambe for this Ruby road trip. Swampy took over the last trip at the NEC. This is Ruby's turn now as they toggle and rotate between excursions. Morecambe then. So Morecambe at night, all the fun of the fair coming up. Fantastic. Morecambe, we will welcome. Morecambe's going to welcome us. Morecambe then, a wise choice I think. Round the roundabout we go. Feed the power through. No problem. Activate cruise. Cruise active. Torque converter locked up. I can't wait to go on the roller coaster. Wow. Are we nearly there yet?
Sky looks beautiful.
Yeah, we've got a setting sun.
We might not be able to see Morecambe.
Maybe they've demolished Morecambe, is it? Maybe they might have closed it. Morecambe closed. Closed for business. Open for business. Closed for business. All the fun on the fair coming up. Morecambe in 5 minutes. Next stop Morecambe. Next stop Morecambe. Change here for the deep blue sea. Buckets and spades. Electricity pylons. Next stop Morecambe. All change. All change.